there are questions on the offensive line. There's questions at cornerback, especially with the depth there. I don't know if you saw, I know you saw actually because you wrote about it. That's how I saw it now that I think about it. Mike Clay recently ranked the 49ers roster. He went
Yeah.
through every position and he had him 16th in the league. And essentially, he said the depth isn't there anymore. That's what this
No.
team is missing because so many guys have left due to free agency and other things. And so that's really what the Niners have to replenish. And they could do it in this draft because they have 11 picks. But you need to nail the draft this year. You need growth from the guys in 2022 and growth from the guys in 2021, frankly.
Yeah, this is like naturally what happens, I guess, when you extend 7, 8, 9 players. I mean, the Niners have like an upper class. We could call them a clique. Maybe they go to Cabo of players who are very wealthy and they've earned it. And the Niners they look at themselves as a little bit of a family. They want to keep this team together. Other teams like the Patriots and Chiefs are a little bit more cutthroat about who are cornerstone guys. The Niners have like 9 cornerstone players. One's a fullback, and that's fine. That's fine. 2 are linebackers, and that's cool. But yeah, I think you're consciously sacrificing depth to have that team.
You're going to need Lenore's going to have to take a big step up as somebody that was drafted in 2021. He's probably going to be a starter now on the outside.
Drake Jackson.
Absolutely. Drake Jackson, which I think he can. That wouldn't be like the
He's going to get nothing but one-on-ones all year. Nothing but one-on-ones. Yep.
So he's got to step up as a guy that was taken last year. I would love to see Danny Gray do, I don't know, something. Oh, yeah. Just something.
They need to draft another wide receiver because they can't just bank on Danny Gray being something. They need more wide receivers. They only carried 5 last year. You can carry 6. Get another guy. Because most of their guys are like gadget guys anyway. Like Debo used in specific ways. Juwan Jennings, slot receiver. Ray McLeod, gadget guy. Like get another wide receiver. A wide receiver, not a gadget guy. I would say.
Wide receiver.
11 picks. 11 picks. You got to, I mean, how are 11 guys going to make the team? You could take one of everything.
Well, that's what JJ00 says. The Niners don't have 11 spots on the roster to make all those picks. How many times should the Niners trade up, make like 5 higher picks? I do think they are going to move up because of that. Like there's just no reason to pick these guys if they're not going to make the team. The question is, what do they move up for? Do you think that they would move up for an offensive lineman? Do you think, I mean, they love going defensive line. They love it. And I know they went defensive line with Drake Jackson last year. That doesn't matter at all. I could see them doing that.
I have a prediction. I think their first pick's going to be a linebacker. They got to replace Azeez. They don't have a replacement for Azeez. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's Flanagan Foles. I don't think it's Burks. Those guys are special teamers. The Niners love their linebackers. They haven't really replaced Azeez. They drafted Fred Warner in round 3. They would not be against drafting a linebacker in round 3. Watch for a linebacker to get drafted by the Niners. They love their defense. They're not messing around.
What about Marcelino McCrary-Ball? They love him.
He'd be in the mix, but I don't know that they're necessarily going to hand him a starting spot. What was he on the practice squad last year? He'll compete. He'll be in the mix.
He's fast, man.
He is. Yeah, maybe that's the guy. I just feel like they're not going to leave it to chance. Like they're going to bring in guys. They're going to bring in reinforcements.
Part of me wonders if their philosophy is, Adam Peters kind of talked about this in an interview where basically he talked about it with offensive line, how like it's super hard to find offensive linemen. Not that many offensive linemen run the Niners system. So what they do is they look for guys that have the basic kind of prerequisite skills, and then they draft them and they train them up for a year, and then they get in there and they're ready to go. Does that apply to all 49ers players? I don't know.
It's a smart way to go about with the offensive lineman because I think that's like offensive linemen and quarterbacks have the toughest transition from the NFL, from college. Like for offensive linemen, the defensive linemen are so much more athletic than what you've seen. The blitzes are so much more sophisticated, and you're not strong. Like you're going against 30-year-olds. You're 22. Like you're just not strong enough. So I think it's probably smart. And also like with the Niners, they have like they want to run outside zone, particularly to their right. So like the right side of their offensive line often is a little bit smaller and faster than the left side. There's very specific things they're looking for. And they're willing to sacrifice some pass protection on the right side, which is kind of like a 1990s way of thinking, in my opinion. But that's how they are.
49er Gang 916, McCrary-Ball is going to break out. He's been getting buff.
He is buff.
I do think the Niners, it's possible they looked at their quarterbacks, whether it's Trey or Brock, and said, or even Sam, to be fair, we got a guy that's mobile enough now. Like Jimmy Garoppolo was not mobile. They're okay if the offensive line was a little weaker in pass protection because they know they have the quarterback now that can sort of make up for it a little bit.